anything. My parents are the reason I'm here today. I'm who I am today, and if you know who I am too, I respect my parents a lot. Finally, I know what it is I want to talk about. In the video I was recording before this, I was talking about how I'm going to be cutting my hair, skin, and just letting it regrow. But I ended up playing this game just to get my memory, I guess, thinking of an idea. I don't usually come out, well, anyways, I didn't have an idea. Yesterday, for the first time in, I would say confidently, over 12 years, I felt that I might miss my parents when they're gone. And my eyes, I'd already been crying before, but my eyes just bawled out more. And a lot of people might not know this about me, except like you're someone that has been close to me before or you're currently close to me. I would always mention the friction I feel between me and my parents, especially now that I'm living at home with them. I was on UNC, in an apartment in UNC for about a full year and a half. So that is what I've always wanted. Like, to be honest, even if my relationship with my parents would improve, I still want to be away from them eventually and as soon as possible. Because I like my space and I like to do what I want to do without someone telling me that, oh, what you're doing is wrong. Like, I like the advice, but I'm an adult and I know what I'm doing and I know why I'm doing it most times. I take risks. I'm not saying you should, I just do. And that's kind of how I live my life because I know the kind of risk I'm taking and I know that I can handle myself if I need to. So, yes, for the first time in many years, I've felt that way. And this is because I have been, aside from the fact that I've been reading my Bible, I've also been reading this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I've also been thinking a lot more. Like, I guess it's because I don't have Instagram on my phone anymore that I have more time to, be in my thoughts. I'm just listening to music, reading my Bible, going to the gym, playing games occasionally, watching movies or anime. But for the most part, there's no social media on my phone, and since my use is very limited, I don't get a lot of brain rot content as I used to, which at the beginning was not fun. I just like to lay down on my bed and laugh away sometimes. But I guess I never, thought that my mind was not expanding as it is now. And I enjoy this because I just be chatting with ChatGPT or my friends sometimes, and I'm just like sharing these crazy thoughts that come into my head. Let's get back into this situation with my parents. So when this happened, it occurred to me, so I mentioned that I cried. I was already crying before I thought about my parents. And that too was crazy because tell me why me of all people. If you know who I am, if you've been close to me before, I'm not saying this like I'm a bad person or like some terrible person, but tell me why me of all people is listening to gospel music at the gym, and when I'm taking my rest, I start crying and I'm like, what? Me? Why am I crying? I'm so confused, and I'm like, damn, day one, Jesus is king. You know what they say? Damn, I'm trying to remember like I'm not trying to quote, but I'm also trying to like remember what it says in the Bible. But yes, yes, you will testify the name of the Lord, and that's kind of how I'm feeling. It's a good feeling, to be honest. You would think that drawing yourself closer to God would not be as exciting as what people say is exciting in today's world, like, going out to parties, or, engaging in things that you shouldn't be engaging in, those kind of things that are fun yet self-destructive, you know, or some superficial things that might not be self-destructive, but also not valuable to, I guess, to actually bettering yourself as a human being. Like, I'm telling you, ever since I started paying more attention to these things in the Bible and just trying my best to also act, to also be a doer of the word, I've noticed the benefits. There's a lot of things in the Ten Commandments that I already don't engage in, like not sleeping with anybody's wife, I don't steal, I don't like to lie. There's a lot that, but ever since I started following more things and gaining more knowledge and just understanding things differently or deeper and practicing, trying to be more confident in what I do, the benefits have just been crazy. I kid you not. I'm trying to talk to people with more confidence and they are responding with more confidence. I went to when like I kid you not, when I walked into the store to look at I walked into this store today to look at the phone. I'd already told myself I wasn't really going to buy it, but I could if I wanted to. But I just like kind of, I was like, I'm not too sure. Like, I can buy it right now, but I should probably hold off. I get in there and there's like this pretty girl. Sorry to any of my wives that might be concerned about this, pretty girl, but I'm just joking. Yes, there's this pretty girl there, and she just happens to be the one I spoke to on the phone about, like, because I called before actually going to the store, and there's a different girl. I kid you not, I feel like they're gonna fight after, because the other girl tried to, what would I say? I don't know what she tried to do, but when I explain it, you will understand. Okay, you know what? Let me just, describe this situation. I feel like I've drifted off from somewhere. Yeah, my parents. But yeah, this situation at hand. I walked into this store. This girl was pretty, and because I've already been trying to speak with more confidence and walk with more confidence, I'm hitting her with all the confidence. I'm not flirting, but I'm just saying what I want to say as loudly as I can, and looking her directly in the eyes, and she's responding in such a bubbly manner, like she's excited to have this or to help this customer, and this other girl is there and she's also being helpful, mind you. So I go to sit down to fill out this form and whatever. She offers me water, and before she goes, she introduces herself to me. I'm like, I don't think you have to do that, but I don't know. It just seemed like something that you wouldn't usually do, but it seemed like she did it. I don't know. I might be overthinking it. I might be delulu, but maybe that's just how she is. But I don't know. It just seemed like we were, communicating, right? So I was in between this 128 gigabyte iPhone or 256, because one of the major reasons I also want to change my current phone is because I got a 64 gigabyte. I'm broke, right? But I'm trying to upgrade. And at the point where I'm about to pay for this 256 gigabyte, which is obviously more expensive than the other one, I'm like, wait, do any one of you actually use the 128 or 256? And can you tell me if you have enough space? You know, and the girl, Ali is her name, right? She tells me, oh, I actually use the same phone. Like, I also use the 13 Pro, and I have the 128, and I think you should get it because you save more money. And this, mind you, when I called, she told me that they have a 13 Pro 128 and 256, right? Then this Indian girl who has, wait, me saying Indian girl doesn't mean, like, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just describing her, right? She's a pretty girl. Like, she was also attractive. But she's like saying, oh, I don't think we have any 128s at the back anymore. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure when I called you, one of you, you said you do. So, why are you trying to make me pay more when I could save money? Like, this one girl is trying to help me save money, and you're trying to make me spend more. Like, what do I look like, So obviously, I was just kind of happy that, this girl was nice enough to try to take care of a customer. Like, she basically broke down everything for me. Like, even if I already understood, like, it's not my first rodeo, buying a phone, but she was just very sweet to me. And even yesterday at work, you might have thought I was flirting with my manager, but we're just talking, we're just chopping it up. And I've never done that before, I'm just speaking to people with more confidence, and it's just working. Conversations, like, there's this group of guys that I feel I could be friends with at my workplace, and every time I see them, I kind of like shy away, and in my mind I feel less manly because I'm like, they're just guys, like, they're just guys. So I'm trying to take a break from work yesterday. I just go to the bathroom, because I'm also drinking a lot of water. Please hydrate. Just so you know, if you are drinking like 4 bottles of water a day and you think you're drinking enough, I'm sorry for you, but you need like up to 10 bottles of water a day. Anyways, so I see like literally all these guys in the bathroom. That might sound weird, but it was just like 4 of them. And I kid you not, after I started talking to them, 3 more guys entered, and it just became like it looked like, how girls all go to the bathroom in the club together? That's exactly what it looked like. It was just guys in the bathroom. I was like, this is cool because we're all talking about anime. Mind you, that's how we bonded, right? Because I'm here washing my hands, and I hear Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'm like, y'all watch anime?
NANI?
I'm like, y'all watch anime? So I asked this one dude that I've spoken to once before, and I was like, yo, what's your favorite anime, bro? And he's like, One Piece. And I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. I dab him up because my favorite anime is also One Piece, right? And I'm like, we just talked for a little bit. I'm like, yo, you know what, guys? Like, great talk, but I got to head back to work. Even if it's like a few minutes left to the end of work, but I'm like, there was somebody else I was working with, and I don't want them to feel like I'm ditching them, because they kind of like relied on me. Like, they needed my work for them to work, So I had to head back. But I was like, I've worked in this place for over 5 months, and I haven't said that many words to these guys before. But just because I've changed, I've tried to be more confident in doing these things, it's actually working. And if you are somebody that struggles with doing something or just speaking to people, just try it. And this is the advice that I would give, because this is what I use for myself, is to say what you want to say. But if you have a hard time saying what you want to say, try to keep it short, but be loud and confident. So if you feel like you're not going to be confident about what you're going to say, don't say it. Don't even pretend like you're going to say it. Think it in your mind and just walk past this person. Don't do anything, because if you don't do it confidently, you haven't done it right. At least that's how I'll feel, because you might have to do it again. Imagine trying to get someone's attention and they don't hear you, because you were not loud enough, and now you have to do it again. It, I don't know. For me personally, I would be discouraged to try again because I'm like, they didn't hear me. Let me just, or they ignored me. That might be why. Because I'll be like, oh, in my mind, I might think I was loud enough and they ignored me. Yeah, everybody hates me. That's why you just keep on being less confident in yourself. But what if you actually tried it and they heard you and responded positively or not? As long as you get that response and you get that, those words out of your mouth confidently, and you do it more with more people, I think you just get used to it. And that's what I've been trying. If I don't want to say hi to you, or if I feel like I'm not going to say that hi confidently, I wouldn't just say it. But if you say hi to me, most times, like, you've welcomed me to talk to you. So I don't feel like I can speak confidently when it's the other person making that initial contact. But if it's the other way around, it's kind of hard for me. How long is... Okay, this is about 15 minutes. Just wanted to make sure I'm not, And I also have to watch the time. Okay, I'm still cool. Yes. So, aside from this confidence talk that literally started from relationship with my parents, yesterday as well, one other thing I've struggled with is my relationship with my parents. It's not like it's bad, not like my parents treat me terribly or anything. My parents are the reason I'm here today. I'm who I am today, and if you know who I am too, I respect my parents a lot for the places that they put me in life and what they try to teach me, because I wouldn't have wanted, I wouldn't have had God in my life already if not for my mom. My mom is a devout Christian. She's a pastor, but even before she became a pastor, like, she had been a devout Christian, and I've always seen that. I grew up in the church. I'm a Methodist. I believe I'll stay a Methodist, but my life has already been this way. My dad, on the other hand, he's like, it was more like, okay, school, but not just school. He tried to, he's also kind of the reason that I know that speaking confidently will actually help you speak to people better, because I kid you not, like, my dad would yell at me for not speaking loudly enough. He's like, you need to speak up, and now I see why. Because all these problems I had talking to some people that, you're just a human being, but I was timid sometimes, and people can't hear me. But my dad would always be like, speak up, say what you want to say your mind, Yeah, he taught me some of these. There's a lot more that my dad taught me, by the way, but, yeah. Yes, my dad was, and he also made me join the orchestra. My music taste, partly, is also thanks to my dad. There's so much. There's a aeroplane. I don't know if you're Nigerian, but when I was a child, I would see like planes. I would be like, aeroplane. And I'm also glad that I'm like the only person in this park right now, because if I did that, everybody would be looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga, bro? But yes, like I learned how to play the saxophone. I know how to play the clarinet. Yes, my dad wanted me to learn how to use my hands, because it was like, even if school doesn't work out, what you know how to do with your hands can also get you places. I know how to work on my own car. I know how to follow a recipe. I don't want to say I know how to cook, because knowing how to cook is quite different from following a recipe. Like, and I learned this the hard way when my mom had told me that she basically told me something that if I knew how to cook, I would know, but I just know how to follow a recipe. So basically, I tried to make something on my own without following a recipe, and it turned out a different texture than I thought it would. And that's because I don't know how to cook. I know how to follow recipes. Cool. So yes, like these things that they advised me on are, are the advices I'm trying to follow now. And the more I do them, the more I'm like, why didn't I just do that earlier? Why didn't I just be that way earlier? You know? So don't underestimate an adult's advice. Even now that I am just 21, I'm still growing up. I can see why an adult's advice, even if this adult is not in a good position in life, they could be broke, but I can see why their advice means something, because they've lived this, they've made that mistake, and that mistake probably put them in the position they are. Like, yes, your mistakes can actually put you in a bad or good position. It just depends on how you respond to those mistakes. We all fail, we all go through things, but it's your mindset. How do I deal with this problem or mistake, whatever you want to call it? How do I deal with this bad situation? How do I recover from it? My own ideology, I think I always say this, but if you know me, if I'm not dead, I'm going to bounce back. I won't give up. Except I decide it's not for me. Except I decide something is not for me. If it's just not working out, then it's not for me. Especially things that you cannot control. Especially somebody else. If you can't get someone to like you, don't try. You shouldn't even be trying to get people to like you. Just be yourself. And I'll tell you this: the people that like you for you are the people that you want around you. The relationships I regret not having anymore are the ones that I tried to be someone else. And I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, yeah, every person that I wish I'm still talking to now, when I was talking to them, I wasn't always being myself. I was not exactly pretending to be somebody else specifically, but I was trying to adjust myself to who I think they would like. And they didn't like that person. Or they probably sensed that wasn't me, and they just removed themselves from my lives. And I regret it. So embrace who you are, Embrace who you are, even if you are flawed. Question yourself about your flaws. Be honest with yourself. Challenge yourself to break, to overcome your fears. Start with something simple, or take the first step. I don't know what your situation is, but taking the first step is hard at first. But when you do it and you realize how easy it was to do, you're like, why didn't I do it at first, And I didn't even get to say what I did yesterday. But when I had come to tears about, the potential of, or the reality that if, my parents go before me, I will miss them, is I ended up deciding to say thank you to my mom for teaching me about the Bible. I've never called my mom to say thank you. I will say thank you in the moments. I'm like, oh, thank you for the food, or thank you for helping me, or thank you for sending me money. But to sit down and to say specifically this thing that you did, that you spent, God knows how many times my mom told me to read my Bible, or how many times she bought me a devotion that I only read for 3 days, or to pray every day, or to pray about every situation, And now that I finally started doing it, I'm like 80-something days into this Bible plan that I started this year. And imagine I had known the Bible for even just 5 years of my life. I don't know where I would be right now, but I'll probably be in a better place. a very, very different and better place. I believe so. Because if you do it rightly, you would actually see progress. If you follow what the Bible says, like, I'm not saying go and sacrifice somebody, like, I'm talking about the New Testament, and, you will see the benefits. I promise you that. It's relieving, and you should try it. I don't know. I think this might be why I conclude this particular video, but I even have to be somewhere. But yes, that's about it today.